Teams go through cycles, and I don't just mean the regular development cycle whereby a group of people come together, become a team, and then start to perform at a high level. Even once the team is performing at a high level, there will be peaks and troughs. So what happens when your team hits a trough? When the stresses and strains of everyday work are starting to get to it? What are the things that you can do as a project leader, as a team leader, to give your team a boost? Your team is tired. I get it. You want to refresh your team. Well, here are my 10 suggestions. First, give them a break. Your team is tired, so give them a rest. Organise a break. A short break in team activities can often revitalise your team to the extent that the productivity gains after the break far outweigh the loss in working time during the break. And it doesn't have to be some expensive activity. A slap-up lunch, a picnic, some voluntary activity, anything that takes your team away from its day-to-day work will provide a break and therefore will re-energize and refresh your team when they return to work. Secondly, good news. Good news always perks people up. Ideally, you want to look for some real good news from within inside the project or the activities of the team. Look for some story of progress, of innovation, of creativity, of success, and tell that story in a way that celebrates the team's work. But another approach is to bring in some news from the outside world. Some novelty, something interesting from the internet, for example, can just give your team that little temporary boost. Third is optimism. When your team is starting to feel at something of a low ebb, then nothing beats an optimistic frame of mind from you as the team leader, because your team will take its emotional cues from you. Now, I don't mean being over-optimistic and silly confident in the face of setbacks, but what I do mean is being resourceful and looking at the future with a sense that we can overcome. Taking the lead means being optimistic in the face of setbacks by marshalling your team together, inventorying the resources, and having that can-do attitude, which will revitalise your team. For me, this is all about spotting the opportunities, and it's also about valuing the contributions of each individual. Show your team that you trust them and that you have faith in their ability to resolve whatever problems are facing you. Fourth, they do say that a problem shared is a problem halved. So act as a sounding board for your team's frustrations, concerns, worries, and fears. Make sure that you give each team member the time they need to tell you what concerns them. Be a really good listener and people will value you, especially if you can be supportive and listen uncritically to their concerns. Your job here is not to rob people of their sense of agency by telling them what they should do or even what they can do, but to give them a chance to work through their problems with you sitting and listening and prompting with appropriate questions and giving appropriate support. Fifth, nothing motivates like a good bit of recognition and reward. Find ways to systematically recognize good performance, innovation, creativity, and success and progress from your team members. Set up little award schemes like Team Member of the Month, or Innovation of the Week, or even humorous things like Gaffe of the Week. These can all act as a prompt to getting your team together and to celebrating together. And as a prize, all you really need is a round of applause and maybe a small token gift. 6. While you're recognizing and rewarding success, you must also tackle underperformance, because nothing can sap a team's morale more than feeling that some members of the team are not pulling their weight. Be proactive in assessing the performance of your team members and have quiet conversations early to head off trouble. But if you do become aware that someone is the cause of concern through their underperformance, then you can give the team a boost by acting appropriately and bringing that team member back to compliance. We all have an inbuilt sense of fairness. And when we feel that everybody is contributing fully, we feel happy with the team. Number 7 is to review your plan and your milestones frequently. A team that recognises its plan is no longer appropriate is going to be demoralised. So make sure that you take time to review the plan, review the milestones, and show that you are prepared to revise them if appropriate. This isn't about allowing all of your milestones to slip because of poor performance of your team. It's about recognising that if your team is facing setbacks that it couldn't possibly have anticipated, you will recognise those setbacks and work hard to ensure that the team is now working to a plan that it can genuinely deliver upon. My 8th idea is to swap roles. Give people an opportunity to take one another's roles, or possibly just to shadow another team member, because doing something different is massively re-energizing. They do say that a change is as good as a break, and it also helps to create resilience in your team as new team members are able to do tasks that other team members have already mastered. Of course, it does take time to learn a new task, so swapping people too frequently can be counterproductive. But by giving people a chance to do new things and to learn new things and to develop and grow, you can re-energize your team very easily. Number 9 is to give people more authority, because the ability to work under our own direction and the ability to have more control in the workplace is motivating and energizing. And of course, if you can delegate more of your own authority, that frees up some of your time to support your team members and to think of other ways that you can enhance the team experience. And of course, as people take on more authority, they will develop and grow in themselves, not only feeling more confident, but becoming more useful team members. And finally, think about introducing new blood to the team. Maybe it's time to shake up the team with 1 or 2 fresh members to the team. These new members can introduce new ideas and contribute in different ways, and it can also put existing team members on their mettle. It can, of course, demoralise the team if you do it in a bad way, so make sure that you think it through carefully. Now, sadly, if your team has no room for growth and expansion, this might mean benching 1 or 2 experienced team members, possibly people who everyone values. But the benefit of doing that is for those 1 or 2 team members, because you're now giving them an opportunity to move on to another project and take on some new opportunities, possibly with more authority, more challenge, and therefore more growth. So if you have a team that is starting to feel a little tired, it's time to intervene. And I think with these 10 ideas, you now have plenty of ways that you can re-energize your team and give them a complete refresh. Please do give a thumbs up if you've liked this video. There's loads more great project management content to come, so please do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of it. And I'll see you in the next video.